we're talking about enhancing our online presence. And one of the things we're trying to overcome is first of all, the lack of physical body. And that starts with the most basic things, even knowing how to build the right setting, moving away from your camera so your body is more present and you can see not just facial emotions, but also body language. So there's a lot of knowledge involved here. Once we move to the digital presence, then we have other tools we can engage. We don't have to just duplicate what we're doing in a clinic. We can add additional things. One example, that's part of our offering, is the move to cards. Therapy cards are a very powerful tool. Metaphoric cards have been used for years and years in therapy, both during traditional therapy and coaching. Once this moved into the COVID era, we lost our ability. You can't have physical cards on a session. It's impossible to see them. So what we actually developed is a whole platform, starting off, first of all, offering digital cards, which can be manipulated, which provide a very collaborative experience. I think one of the changes in psychotherapy in the last few years, CBT has been a strong pusher in that direction, is a very collaborative approach. So I can actually give the patient during a session the ability to control the screen, to manipulate the cards. We can use in lots of different modalities. We've got a protocol based on CFAR CPT for PTSD therapy, and we have 15 different types of decks for different uses for ADHD, and a unique approach we've also included based on this concept of being very collaborative, an equal sitting with the therapist and the patient. We now have questionnaires which are done through cards. So instead of, for example, the traditional setting where I, as a therapist, give a questionnaire to a patient, it almost feels like an exam. We now use our cards with the same questions, but then the patient just takes the mouse and can start using it during the session, filling in the questionnaire in a much more playful way. So what we've actually done is we're not just taken an existing tool which therapists use, we've enhanced it, we've increased it, and now we're giving tools which can be used both in session, in online sessions, and also in physical presence. What we're finding now, and I think we're actually quite excited, is that a lot of therapists are starting to use the tools they adopted during the COVID period and bring them back into the physical presence. And I think a lot of the tools mentioned here among the different participants are also going to manage to find their way back into the traditional clinical area. And the fact that they've been using remote therapy will actually help them. The fact that we are willing to connect digital tools to therapy, which 2 years ago would be heresy, is now becoming much more accepted. So that's one example of sort of tool. We're now increasing forms. You can be using digital therapy cards with a therapist. Therapist is still the main part of this activity. And we can have forms will be saved. You can actually manage the whole sessions through this platform. And it's part of a vision we have. We really see integrated platforms which can both provide tools during the session, both online and in the clinic, because we believe this has to be a very natural transition. We're going to have, so we could call it hybrid therapy. We're going to have a session in clinic, and next week, because somebody's traveling, he'll do it online. And the next week, there might be another pandemic or another reason, so we can move in and out of clinic. And the tools have to be able to move in and out of the online back to the clinic. And also the platform we want to see in the future, including between session activities. And again, a number of the participants here talked about products which are very suitable for between sessions. It could be social platforms, it could be monitoring, it could be, for example, another colleague's developing reminders which can resonate the activity, because as Zeev mentioned, life is what happens between sessions. It's not what happens in the clinic. That's just a small part of it. So that's very, very briefly about the kind of products, kind of activities we can do in this platform.
Sounds really great, and yeah, it's really helped the process.